And lest we get on our high horse and think this is unique to some other place, remember that during the Crusades and the Inquisition, people committed terrible deeds in the name of Christ. In our home country, slavery and Jim Crow all too often was justified in the name of Christ.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, how could we possibly forget that? And if only that were an isolated incident, but it's not. Walid Shoebat, author, Islamic terror expert, former Palestinian Liberation Organization member, is with us. And there you see his book, ladies and gentlemen. And it is called, of course, The Case for Islamophobia. Hello, Walid. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
Good. Good to talk to you again. All right. I want to talk about a piece that you wrote that I believe appeared at therightscoop.com. You say we could defuse, or defeat, I should say, ISIS by using the Bible and not by firing a single bullet. It sounds like a magician's trick. Tell me how that would work.
Well, there's only a couple of verses I use in the article, and that is God divides the battle, Gog and Magog. He divides brother to kill other brothers. In other words, divide and conquer. It's in the Bible. Jehu does a similar thing in which he invites the prophets of Baal, and all the invitees were made sure to be Baalist worshippers, and they killed them all. Now, when we look at the situation of what's going on, you know, we send sorties there while ISIS knows and could adapt to them, hide, duck, and cover. You've blown up all these buildings, but you're not killing many of the jihadists. The idea of attacking ISIS is to kill jihadists. So, you know, the idea of having spies intervening into Syria and Iraq and knowing the exact times, you'd save a ton of money. And when these people gather together and how to get them without them anticipating the attacks. Now, just look at the problems that we've done. If you study the last couple decades and how the West dealt with the Muslim world, starting with removing Saddam Hussein. Had you kept Saddam Hussein there, there'd be no problem with insurgencies in Iraq, no Al-Qaeda problem, no Iran problem, because he would neutralize Iran. There'd be no problem with terrorism whatsoever. You removed Saddam Hussein and you had a catastrophe. Then you wanted to make the Middle East better, so you started the Arab Spring. How are we doing? 250,000 people die as a result of this Arab Spring, in which really we failed, or the West fails, to look at Islamists as purely Islamist. We look at it the way the Jordanians look at it. The way the Jordanians look at the Islamist problem is they look at it as an American would look at the Victoria salsa. There is extra hot, hot, mild. So the extra hot has to be somehow neutralized by the hot. So you somehow pit them on each other. Sorry, you pit them on each other, as Jordan did in the last escapade where Al-Qasasbah was burned alive. What did Jordan do? They released a top ISIS leader, Al-Maqdisi. Al-Maqdisi was one of the founding fathers of ISIS with Abu Mus'ab al-Zarqawi. Of course, the leaders of ISIS, you know, they don't want to die by the noose. They want you, as an ISIS fighter, to die by the noose, by fighting the enemy. So he denounced what ISIS did. He called them liars. They made this big public television, which really causes a division within the rank and file within ISIS. So the idea is to divide and conquer. We have to understand, every time we remove something, now even if you defeat ISIS, there will be a vacuum there. What's going to happen? You know, Turkey is using ISIS. Iran somewhat is using ISIS. Saudi Arabia is someone using ISIS. It's killing Shiites. So Saudi Arabia in the Arab world isn't really that determined on destroying ISIS completely. And even Japan uses ISIS because Shinzo Abe wants to reverse his constitution in Japan to make the argument that, look, because of the war on terror and ISIS, we need to build a bigger armament in Japan. So ISIS is being used by Turkey. It's being used by the Middle East, by the Arabs themselves, because the war is Sunni versus Shia. Why not have the Sunni and the Shia hash it out and we stay out of it? Let Iran defend its Shia and let Saudi Arabia defend itself. and let Jordan defend itself. There's no need to send any American troops on the ground and to bleed for this cause, because every time Western troops try to enter the Middle East and try to solve something, the end was always a catastrophe. You looked at the blueprint, you know, at the, sorry, the thumbprints when the women were voting after the ousting of Saddam Hussein, and you were all excited, women are voting, but the Shia were voting. You have a Shia regime, which is an extension of Iran. So Iran, through proxy, rules in Iraq, rules in Syria, and rules through Hezbollah in Lebanon. You've allowed the Iranians.
And of course, Walid, not to interrupt, of course, Barack Obama, Iran, his best buddy, will soon sign an agreement that will put Israel and the West in great, great danger. Walid, always great to talk to you, sir. Thank you for joining us. And don't forget the book, ladies and gentlemen, The Case for Islamophobia. Thank you, Walid.
You bet.
All right, take care. All right, folks, we will be back with author Scott Farris after the break. Now, he has written a book which is it's a biography. It's of two of the greatest presidents, well, JFK and Ronald Reagan. Need I say more? So stick around for that interview.